Hey, this is Jim Barry with the Cherokee County Schools System Technology Department. I'm going to show you a little bit about Claymation video today. We have basically a cardboard box. I cut a hole in the top of the box and just adding a light on top. That really helps your video if you could put some light above. You can see I put some white paper at the bottom of the box and some clay objects. Right here is a Logitech webcam. And I've had to install the Logitech software. And now I'm going to show you a free program that makes stop motion animation very simple. I'm going to click Start, All Programs, and I'm looking for a digital storytelling folder. Inside that folder you'll scroll down to Stop Motion Animator and then slide over here to launch the program. If you see a Logitech webcam strip come open over on the right, you can just close it. The Logitech software is separate from the Claymation software, so you can just come over and close it, and you can continue if it asks you about right light technology. The first thing I usually do in the stop motion animator program is to move these two windows. I like for the first window, I'm going to call that the control window, to be at the top left, and then I'm going to snug in the preview window right next to it. Now notice that my mouse, when I put my mouse in the lower right corner, it will change to a diagonal double black arrow. That's real important that it's diagonal, because when you click on it and you drag your mouse down the screen, it will get larger. And again, sometimes the Logitech program will open. Okay, so now we're ready. If you look over at the control window, at the top left, you have the Start button. As soon as you click Start, that word will change to grab. Grab means take a picture or a frame. We use the term frames instead of pictures. Every time I click the grab button, it's going to grab one frame, which is approximately 1/16 of a second. So every time I hit Enter, I can also hit the Enter key to use to grab a frame. I'm basically grabbing a 1/16 of a second, so I'm going to have to grab 16 images of motion, which will equate to 1 second of time. So Claymation can be a very tedious process, and it requires patience. And the more patience you have and the smaller movements you use as you're moving your clay objects around, the smoother your video will be. So we're going to begin with the endocytosis motion. We have three solute molecules, and this is the cell membrane. So the solute molecules are going to move into the cell membrane, and you'll see as we go. So I'm going to go ahead, and I like to begin Claymation videos with the opportunity to see what's on the screen. So if you think of it as 16 frames per second, I need a few seconds just to see the clay as it stands before the motion begins. So I'm going to go ahead and grab 75 frames. You can hit the Enter key very quickly and you'll get to 75 in no time. So 75 frames divided by 16, that just tells us that we're going to have a few seconds to see the clay before we begin. And we'll also add 75 at the end. Okay, go ahead and we'll start moving the objects. Now I usually tell people to move the objects. We're going to call this the nudge. When you nudge the object forward, I tell people to nudge it about half the width of a pencil. You can nudge it more, and you can get a lot more video done if you do larger motions, but the rule is the smaller the nudge, the smaller of distance that you move your objects, the smoother your video will be. So we moved the red objects up a little bit, so I'm going to hit the grab button, and now she's going to move them forward just a little bit, maybe half the width of a pencil. Now these are clay, so she's kind of pressing down on the paper so it will stick, because if you don't, the balls could roll down the screen, and they have. Okay, so I'm going to hit nudge again. I'm going to hit grab again on the Enter key. And it's great to work in pairs because the person moving the clay can hear you tap Enter. Go. Now be careful that when the person's fingers or hands leaves the screen, allow the light to change slightly. It's a strange thing, but as I pull my hand away, you can see that the light, it takes a minute for the light to adjust. So don't be in a hurry. I'm going to hit grab. I'm just touching the Enter key, and she hears me do it, so she goes back in and makes a move, and she's going to say go.
Go.
And you know what? With practice, and you're going to do this so many times, you'll get really good at this.
Go.
The number one mistake people make when they first learn Claymation is to take a picture of the person's hands in there. That almost always happens the first couple of times you try it. be very careful to wait for their hands to come out of the viewing area.
Go.
Notice I'm taking one grab for every nudge that she makes. I could take 3, 4, 5, 6 grabs, but you're going to have a much choppier video if you do it that way. If you want super high quality animation, one grab per nudge is really, really great.
Go.
So I've asked her to say go when she's ready, because she's going to wait till her hands are out of there before she says go. So you work together as a team.
Go. 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 And last one.
Okay,
Go.
this is our last one, so I'm going to grab it. Now remember, we added 75 frames at the front of the video. I'm going to go ahead and add 75 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and it doesn't matter, 60. There is a lot of margin for error when you're doing these extra frames, but just remember, 16 grabs is a second. Now, if you'll focus on the control window here, look very carefully for 2 triangles that are pointed to the left, right there, and they're right next to a triangle that looks like a play button. So I'm going to put my mouse on the double triangles, which means rewind to the beginning. And then I'm going to slide over to the right, and I'm going to hit play so we can see the whole video happen when I hit play. Now, I hit play, so remember we added 75 frames, so everything will be still at first. And there it goes. And what's interesting is we took 172 frames, and we only got about a second of video. So it's a very, very time-consuming process, but I'll let you watch it again. It pays off. Patience and small motions results in very smooth video. And that's it. Claymation with stop-motion animator. Okay, now that we're done with our stop-motion animation, if you've rewound to the beginning and you've played it and you're very happy with the video, that's when you can click Done. Don't click Done unless you're totally happy, because you can't get back to this work area unless you start over. So I'm going to click the Done button, and it's going to ask me Save File As. So it goes to my documents, and I'm going to type in ENDOCYTOSIS, and I'll put the number 2 because I have one called 1 already, and I'll hit Save. Then I can go into my documents, and I can open the video from here. It will be an AVI file, and you may have to validate your copy of Windows or click a button to get your media player to open. Express installation is what they usually say. Click I accept. Here it is, Express settings, and finish. You'll only have to do that once per login. So if you're logging in. Now here we are in Windows Media Player, And I'm going to maximize the screen. Oh, it worked much better that time. Excellent. Okay, and that's it. You've made a stop motion video.